Pod, aka People of Detroit. We wanna put people on. You know what I'm saying? We wanna get the world to know more about Detroit.
Well, what makes us different at the Pod is that we want to have real stories by real people and it displaying real triumphs. At the end of the day, in Detroit, one thing we know how to do is hustle harder.
What up, though? It's your boy, Sir LA.
It's me, Dahlia.
And you in here rocking with the Pod, aka
the people of
Detroit. You already know. And today we have a very special guest. You know what I'm saying? I found his story very interesting, and I thought that I could reach out to him, and he could come explain to the people how it is in his world. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people in the community, black community, we don't really think about painting. We don't really think about stuff like that. But today we have Marcel Stewart. How you doing, brother?
I'm alright. Appreciate you having me.
No problem. Good to have you. And we gonna start off with what hood made you, man? Where you grew up at?
Oh man, I started off growing up on the east side on Mac, and then from there, just like any black family, you get a little bit of money, and then you move to the west.
Yeah, so, west side rider over here.
So I get it. That's how I be though. That's
I moved to like Schoolcraft, then over to 7 Mile, then over to Joy Road. So I've been in almost every neighborhood in Detroit. So that right there taught me a lot.
That sound like
good.
us.
That's good.
Just live a little bit of here, a little bit of there.
Right,
you can really maneuver in any neighborhood.
You sound more so like a west side. You
I stayed on the west side majority of my life.
Yeah.
Transit, it's all right.
Yeah.
No disrespect east
I'm
side.
west
Homegrown west side.
No disrespect to no side, but
homegrown west
side. So you know what I'm saying? How was your childhood growing up? You know what I'm saying?
I say overall, my childhood was good. I only had one mom. I didn't have a dad growing up, so that part of everything was pretty hard. But with my mom being there, she helped nurture that creative side. And I had an older brother that was a year older than me, so he kind of taught me the ropes as far as that side of things and the male perspective side of things. But just growing up in a neighborhood that you forced to defend for yourself, and so you got to learn from either your boys or your brothers, your cousins, your uncles.
It looks like you had a good male figure though. You turned out all right. That's how I see
it. Well, I think you learn best from
pretty
mistakes.
Damn good.
You turned out all right.
Damn good, if I say so.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you mentioned being raised in a single family household where the matriarch is, basically playing every role, how do you feel like your mother's influence and your upbringing, how does that impact your art and the man you are today?
I think it helps me, value myself. Growing up with just a mom, it's hard to really value things as an adolescent, as a teenager, You don't really value clothes because your mom is trying to provide for you as if your dad was there.
Yeah.
You don't really value cars because, you either have to get it on your own or your mom is, really trying to nurture you and bring you up to be a man,
Right.
So as far as when I grew older, I started to take things and look at them for face value, really what they're worth. And that goes with women and, my artwork. So I started to look at myself and say, okay, what am I worth? And that was something that she was trying to instill in me from day one, but you don't understand that until somebody reach in their pocket and say that you are worth this.
For sure. And I know we was dwelling on your upcoming and and you being in a single parent household. And for everybody that doesn't know, I know we started off asking certain questions, but Marcel here is a artist, aka a painter. You know, it's different variations of artists, but he specializes in painting. And one thing,
fine art, for sure.
Fine art, yes, that's one thing I can say. I've been over the years. Me and him, we went to the same high school. We wasn't like cool or knew each other, but I just remembered him.
What high school?
We went to Detroit Community.
Okay.
And you know, and like I said, we've been Facebook friends, so I just been seeing his progress over the years, and his paintings, and you know, they speak volumes, and they really
beautiful work,
are very, very detailed, and I'm very appreciative of you even coming to even sit down with us, because you know the type of stuff that you deal with, being a professional painter, you know what I'm saying, in the field that you have, I feel that that's something different. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear a lot of black men saying they going into that field. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like for me to know you for a few degrees of separation, and for you to do what you do, a sit down, and your story will be appreciated.
Yeah, no, so I say it's been a little bit over a decade since high school. So in high school, I did do art, and the art that I did in high school, I drew portraits. You know, I painted still life stuff. So, like, if I seen like an orange or an apple, I could do that. But the art that I do now is completely beyond that. I don't draw anymore. To a lot of people's surprise. And
I would have, looking at some of your pieces, I would have never, even though it's like abstract, I would have never known that.
Yeah, I don't draw anymore. I put it away, and I drew 3 important people in my life. But beyond that, you know, I think school has really kind of got me through everything, and really what helped me find myself. After high school, I went to college to play basketball, so I didn't go straight directly into art.
What school was that?
I went to Schoolcraft College to play basketball, and then after that, you know, just going back to the neighborhood, trying to find my way, you know, I started back working. And my first job was McDonald's. So, you know, I want to say that out loud to let anybody know, you know, you can go anywhere from whatever position that you in. You just got to dedicate yourself.
Start from somewhere.
And from that, you know, I stopped working there, and then I started working at Buffalo Wild Wings. I found myself one day walking to work, you know, in the cold. It was cold like this, like today, you know, snowing outside. I found myself walking to work.
I was on that same tip once upon a time in my life.
Right,
bro,
but then you question yourself, and you wonder what's your own purpose, you know what I mean? And that led me to painting outside, you know, and painting for whatever reason I could find possible, you know, abstracts. But the abstracts didn't make sense. They didn't look as good as my sketches of portraits and things of that nature. Like I said, I sketched my wife, I sketched my mom. Those look fantastic, but if I did an abstract, my first time doing an abstract, it looked horrible. It looked like mud. You know, I didn't know how to blend colors or none of that. But you know, just the confidence that I had in myself, I think, is what got me over the hump. You know.
Okay. I know. You said you married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How's the married life? You know what I'm saying?
The married life good, man. I've been with my wife since I started my art career, actually.
Okay.
So she was seeing me like outside in the backyard painting.
Been through the trenches.
Don't bring that stuff in the house. You know, you smell like paint. Don't get that stuff in the bed. All that, you know. So then from there, she took me on and just said, you know, start believing in yourself, push yourself a little harder, try to charge a little bit more for your paintings, and just see what happens. But that helped me out to say, okay, if I'm gonna do that, I can't be just giving out whatever. If I think it's good, you know, if I think it's subpar, then I have to make sure that, you know, it's brought up to a certain level if I'm asking for a certain value, you know.
For sure.
Behind every great man, you know, it's a strong woman, and it's dope that she supported you on this journey, because let's be real, anytime a person is, you know, a musician, a poet, an artist, there is a lot of struggle. And then let's really talk about it. Artists and poets in particular are, in my opinion, underpaid and undervalued in a lot of ways. And the grind definitely is real. From what I've noticed, just being on a poetry scene, meeting different artists. And it's like, just to get to the level where not only people are actually purchasing from you. But to get to the level where you can make a living, that itself seems like it's a struggle all on its own. It's like people see the win, but they don't see that journey to get there.
And that's always what I talk about. Like, some people ask me, like, y'all seen my paintings, and a lot of people, they don't see them, but once they see them, they like, oh, that's just a splash. You know, it's just
soup splash.
Yeah, it's just colors. It's just this. It's just that. But my reality is, one, that person never thought about doing it, you know. And then the other reality is that one simple splash, it actually took me 5 years to develop, you know. So it may look like, you know, a couple hours of work, which it is, you know, or a couple months of work, but in reality, it takes years to develop a technique or a craft that you could specialize in and say, okay, I own this. This is mine.
I have a question for you real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, boo.
Because you mentioned something when you were just saying the amount of time it takes to craft and produce your technique and to come up with these different designs. I do have a question for you about a specific painting. I want to know how many man hours it took to make, I believe it was Sense of Warmth.
Oh, yeah, Sense of Warmth.
How many man hours did that take? How many hours did that take?
So that took about 3 months to do. Yeah, it's a piece of canvas, and I'm gonna let everybody put their imagination to work. It's a piece of canvas, and I laid it out like a bed sheet. It's about big as a king size bed sheet.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's big.
60 by 72.
Yeah, 60 inches by 72.
Yeah, it's big.
That's 5 feet by 4 feet.
Yes.
And then you know, I laid it out, and then I start putting texture on it, like kind of raking it with a garden rake, so to speak. You know, putting a lot of texture in it, looking as if somebody was scraping their fingernails across the canvas. And then I started painting. Different contrasting colors like yellows versus blues, orange versus purples, and things like that, and putting shapes in it just to make things seem as if they was moving, you know, and having different connections with different networks allowed me to help get it framed. You know, a big piece like that is not easy to get framed. You really have to be in the industry to even develop an idea like that, to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this big canvas. And I know somebody that can stretch it out for me professionally, and that won't ruin my painting. And then I also can frame it up, won't ruin my painting, and then can also logistically deliver it to me.
And I would have never even thought about those components in that process.
Yeah, it's a whole design process that goes behind it, and I think that's what's kind of undervalued, like how you had said. But that's part of the years of experience that goes into it. So yeah, the painting itself maybe had took 3 months, but the framing took another month. You know, and then finding those framers, that's an invaluable relationship.
A job all in its own.
Man, so I'm gonna ask you something. What does "from the belly" means to you?
Oh man, that's a whole nother animal right there. So I was painting as an individual artist, like I said. I was painting in my backyard for a minute, and then I sold my first painting for about $300.
Okay.
And that was about 4 years ago. And then after I sold my first painting, I was kind of going on a streak, and I finally made it to about, let's say, $1,500.
Okay.
And once I sold the painting for about $1,500, I started getting noticed by a few gallerists around the city.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And a gallery owner walked up to me and approached me, and he gave me the opportunity to show artwork in his gallery.
Are you speaking of Ian Grant?
Yes, I'm speaking to Ian Grant at Umoja Fine Arts. Yep. And from there on, you know, I showcased one painting. He loved it, and now that piece is in his collection.
And what piece was that?
It was a small piece called "In the Woods," and it was green. He fell in love with it because he's a Spartan. Yeah. So then beyond that, you know, he gave me opportunity to showcase in the gallery. But what I was showcasing alongside of artists that are globally known. They sell artworks to Oprah. They sell artworks to Bishop Tutu, Malcolm X's daughter.
Wow.
Worldwide artists. So I'm coming into this gallery, you know, and I'm just selling paintings out of my backyard.
Like, I'm a little green, but I'm coming in, you know,
so
ready.
he just telling me, you know, you got to prove yourself. So I sold the painting for $750, and I sold the painting for I believe it was $650.
Dope.
So it bumped me up a little bit, but you know, Ian said, you know what you want to do? Do you want to go in and try to continue selling paintings here, or you know, do you want to kind of back out? And then I said, you know, I'm in no rush. Let's keep it moving. You know, and I'm not intimidated. Let's go.
Okay.
Right.
So from there on, you know, I sold one of my largest pieces. It's called Mystical Harmony. that was a piece that was that was a piece that was painted from in the belly, and that's just really means painting from deep inside yourself. You know, taking a traumatic story or something that really brought you some type of emotional feeling, and being able to relay it on canvas. You know,
now it's funny that you mentioned that painting, because the inspiration behind that painting, like I was in awe. Can you speak on the inspiration behind that painting? It was a situation downtown where you were detained for 9 hours.
Yeah. So when the situation that actually occurred, it was me, my wife, my brother, and his girl. We all went downtown just for a night out, and you know, we seen the situation happening. There's a lot of people out there, and I didn't know what was going on. We wasn't standing up on the news or anything like that.
Right.
So after we seen some smoke go up in the air, we told my wife and his girl to go to the car, and we was gonna try to make it back to the car. Okay. But I'm an artist. If I see something like that happening, I try to capture at least 1 or 2 pictures, I could use it as inspiration. So we tried to do that. So then after I took 2 pictures, my brother, he grabbed me. We started running back to the car, try to find our girls. And then next thing we know, it was a police officer trying to tackle my brother. My brother, he's about my height, but he's a lot stockier. Okay. So they couldn't get him down. You know, so it was another police officer that came up, choked him, slammed him. They slammed me after I was just trying to grab my brother. And then they detained us with zip ties and walked us over. And when they was walking us over, it was some lady trying to get into her apartment building. And the police officer was screaming at her, trying to get her to talk. She couldn't even speak English, man.
Oh, wow.
And then she said, he was asking her, like, do you stay here? Do you stay here? Do you stay here? She couldn't answer because she didn't understand.
And I know you speak a bit of English.
Right. So she's traumatic at this point. Like, she's in awe, can't answer, can't speak English. He detains her in zip ties. Sits us all on the curb.
I'm sorry, what was her language? What did you know?
She was from South America.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he detained all of us, put us, set us on the curb, and we was just trying to look out for her. And then he said, make sure that they separated. Me and my brother was separated from that young lady. And so then they took us to the little detention center and put us outside from 12 at night to 9 in the morning.
Wow. Bro.
Right.
For absolutely nothing.
That's
you know,
crazy.
we was wrongfully convicted. I wouldn't say convicted, but detained.
Right.
You know, for something that we didn't do, but it showed me a lot. You know, for people that could be institutionalized for something that they didn't do. You know, or people like Martin Luther King or people like Rosa Parks. You know, that's trying to really stand up for the right thing, but being accused for something else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so being able to go through that and put it on canvas was really a joy.
And to be there with your wife, and you know, you trying to make sure she good. Yeah. You trying to see how it's crazy. Bro.
Yeah. And I think it's even crazier to see that stuff's still going on in Detroit, man. You know, and for me to be able to put it and articulate it in a particular way, you know, and for people to ask about it, I think it's also still amazing, you know, because for you to understand that now, it's no pictures inside of that painting. Right. You know, it's no people. It's no fireworks or guns or anything, but for you to bring it up in that nature, I think it's still good because now you can relate that to somebody else.
Right.
That situation.
Right. That's, you know, definitely a lot of people, unfortunately, can relate to your story of being wrongfully accused, wrongfully detained, wrongfully convicted, and just police brutality overall. But what I like about the situation is, instead of allowing that to embitter you, anger you, or create, you know, this mindset where you use that as a negative, you turn that into a positive with your art and a message. So I think the way that translates.
I was gonna say don't get it twisted because like I grew up like in a neighborhood where that is my instinct. You know, that is my instinct. So what took me out of that was actually calling up my mentor Ian Grant, and he was able to funnel that through and say, look, you can't channel that with anger. You can't channel that with trying to go back against the system. It's not gonna work like that. What you got to do is use your strength. You know, to that and make that right.
So exactly. I stand corrected. Ian Grant, thank you for being a good mentor and guiding him into
Emoji Fine Arts.
Yes.
Who actually Marcel is the gallery manager.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying, at that location. You know, explain that. Like, how did you come about being the gallery manager at Emoji?
So I guess after showing there for the whole year after selling off the Mystical Harmony. After I sold Mystical Harmony, I sold about 4 or 5 paintings.
Okay.
Right after that.
Oh, wow.
You know, that kind of like just was the trampoline to all my art sales at Umoja. And it was about a year after that where I helped co-curate an art show for younger emerging artists, kind of giving them a chance, just like I did. You know, I had a chance, and my chance was kind of brutal. I was threw in the pit with the pros.
Right,
you know,
right.
But
you maintained.
Exactly, but I maintained. So you know, what me and Ian developed was more so an art show for emerging artists and giving them a chance to showcase their artwork in an art gallery. You know, that's always the idea, is providing a platform. So, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, so go ahead if you want to say something.
I wanted to know, like, the show that you're speaking of, is that something that you guys do annually?
No, we were just doing it out of Ian's retirement. So he had retired from the corporate world. So that was just something that we had decided to do, you know.
Okay.
Based on how things went.
You know, I know it's been a lot of rough patches during this time frame of becoming like a professional artist in the painting world. Your beginning stages, I read somewhere that, you know, in the beginning stages, you were kind of depressed on trying to figure out what you wanted to do, and you kind of you left your paintings in the rain.
Yeah, man. I mentioned that once, man. You picked it up. but yeah, you're right though. But you're right though. You did your homework, and that goes back to what you were saying. Like, behind every strong man and successful man is a strong woman. So when I first started my art career and I was painting in the backyard, you know, that was my beginning of my career. And when we moved, because at that point, you know, we had a smaller home and I didn't think it was going anywhere. I didn't even have an art studio. Like I said, I was painting outside only when it was sunny. I was limited. Wow. So it had came to the point where we were about to move. I got a small U-Haul. I said, babe, I'm not taking these. It was 4 paintings, you know, and I said, I'm not taking these. I gave my next door neighbor one. I threw the other 3 on the front curb. And my wife said, no, bring them back in. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. The next day it rained, you know, and I never forget that, you know what I mean? Because that's what made me get back into art. Because after a year, you know, my wife had got pregnant, and I didn't do art that whole year pretty much. Okay. Or at least I didn't show any publicly, you know. Okay. But after that is when I really kind of dug deep and start back showing, because I know, you know, I can't throw my talents away. I always believe that, you know, if I do that, then I'll be robbing the world of my talents. You know, not to say that I have the best, but if someone does believe that,
I mean, but at the end of the day, it's your best that you presented in that moment.
Exactly.
So, you know, never forget that, because at the end of the day, a piece that you do could inspire someone or make someone feel better, or you never know how you impact somebody through your art, especially when you're putting your heart and soul into your pieces. Your spirit is being translated into these people's homes. So I definitely believe that art is a reflection of our insides, our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs. So, you know, you could never look at it and say, oh, I might not be the best. In that moment when you created it, that was the best that you presented. So I definitely would say, you know, keep doing what you're doing. But I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Me personally, I was interested in the inspiration behind your Psych Eval series. I seen a few pieces from that, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And I seen you showing some in Ontario. I thought that was pretty cool. Canada.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So my Psych Eval series, that was a while ago. That was kind of when I first started. But I had found myself when I had led myself from portraits and things of that nature and figurative art into abstracts.
Right.
I found the common denominator of my art being attractive was it had to be vibrant. So a lot of my artwork that you see now is vibrant. That was the main characteristic that I had in that. So I wanted to show my audience that I could range out and make my artwork vibrant by using just one simple color, which was black on a white canvas. And it still caused that same shouting effect. That same splash effect was used. It was still abstract in the same form. But that's pretty much what it was wrapped around. And also, I titled it Psych Eval because of the cards that psychiatrists use when they measure a patient's psych, you know?
Interesting. I like that. Okay. I know like was it that long ago you had like a free art class for the kids?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, so that was more when I had just started too. Like it was everything about me is pretty much providing a platform for anybody that is looking to do it and looking for support, because that's something that I didn't see much of when I was growing up. Like like how you mentioned, is not much support for art, painting, drawing, anything like that. So I held the art class for children. It was free. Bought a lot of canvases, bought a lot of paint.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And kids, they just come out. I rented a place, they just came out, painted, painted whatever they wanted to. And I went around the class, helped them pick colors, showed them how to sign a name and things like that. Made them feel like an artist. And I hope that led them into something else, at least made them think outside the box. And that's the whole goal of art, I think, is to think outside the box.
That's nice. That's nice. I know recently from MLK Day, y'all did something, second annual thing y'all do at the Moja Arts. And you unveiled 2 paintings.
Yes.
Well, 1 painting this year, 1 painting last year. I like the one from last year. The that was very, very nice. Yeah, nice. Like I love how that was, the Still Uncivil.
Yeah.
That was a very nice painting. And this year, you did 100 Years Strong. Yeah. And that was something that, the dedication towards Dr. Martin Luther was a big, he was a big thing in the black community and just the world in general. So that was dope for you to create a memorable piece behind him and his name. You know what I'm saying? Could you explain how those paintings came along and like where were you at mentally creating those?
Yeah, so it's actually a 3-part series. This is since I got with Yamoja, I've only been there for 2 years, so I started up. You guys have probably only seen the last 2. The first piece was collected by a private collector. Soon as it got completed. But the second piece was titled Still Uncivil, like how you had mentioned, and that was done in sort of my own rendition of a patriotic flag. Yes. And instead of having the 51 stars or the 50 stars or the 13 stars for the 13 colonies, you had my splash inside of that field. And then
you gotta add your artistic expression.
Yeah, you always gotta add your artistic signature or something. And then I put No Justice, No Peace, because that seems like we were going through that year. And then this year I created a piece titled The 100-Year Fight, and that was simply because
100-Year Fight. I said 100 Years Strong.
Oh yeah, 100-Year Fight. So that was simply because I wanted to put in small clippets and collage images of people that was really fighting for our freedom and fighting for our civil rights 100 years ago, which still is portrayed today. So I had images of Rosa Parks at 70, 80 years old on trial. Wow. And I had pictures of Martin Luther King being locked up with his numbers on his chest and just being wrongfully locked up. And then I also had pictures of Malcolm X explaining the word Negro. And we still see that today where people try to tell black people not to use the N-word for whatever reason. Right. Or try to eliminate the N-word from the complete vocabulary. But it's like we've developed our own reasons for everything.
It's an embrace. It's
exactly.
It's not nothing negative with us, but
And everything that we do now, I feel like, is fighting for the same thing that we fought for 100 years ago, and that's what that piece displays.
And what I thought was beautiful about that piece, because I did see it, by the way, I think that it was lovely. I liked the way that you were able to make it look clean with putting the photos and then still having your style and the abstract style around it. I thought it was very, very beautiful. Both pieces,
Thank you.
What I want to know in regarding this situation, when you look at using art as a platform for political or social statements, I want to know what that power means to you. What does it mean to be able to have that power to project?
Yeah, like the first year, I'm not gonna lie, when it was collected right off the top of the bag, like I didn't know, so I gave it, sold it, and that was it. Second time that I created a political piece of that matter, it was publicly showcased. That's when it really hit me. I unveiled it, and there was people of all races there.
Beautiful.
All ages. Everybody wanted to meet me. Everybody wanted to talk to me. And it opened up my eyes and said they don't want to talk to me because of my art. They want to talk to me because they understand what this means. Right. It's more than just a poster and somebody walking down the street. It's somebody bringing all of these people under one building and saying, okay, we have to be together to be able to witness this. You know, whether it's my image or somebody else's image, the power of that image is what's bringing everybody together, you know.
Okay.
Same thing for this year, just being able to educate people and being able to put things or image in someone's head. You know, once you see it, like how you said you saw it, you're not going to forget it. You know, right. you might forget parts of it or specific details of it, but you're not going to forget what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I know that, you know, Umoja Fine Arts, I heard that they are the biggest, like, publisher, distributor in the Midwest for African American like artists and paintings, you know, and like how does it feel to be a part of that? To know that you like cementing your name into something, bro. Like how does that feel, bro?
It felt good when I first sold my first piece next to Paul Goodnight, which is one of the most top known artists, black artists in the nation and worldwide. So that alone feels good, and just to know who Umoja represents. Also feels good, but more than anything, as an artist and as a creative person, is nothing more pleasing to work with somebody that's got that same credibility or higher, because it's iron sharpening iron. That's you know, and if I see myself falling, it's because of how high the other person has reached. You know, it's not me battling against myself anymore. You know, I can battle against myself and just not wake up tomorrow and sleep in. But if I'm battling against, you know, somebody that's got 30 years on me, and you know his price range is maybe another 30,000 above mine.
Right.
Now I got something to go for.
The grind is real.
Exactly.
I want to ask you a question. Let's switch up the energy a little bit. Give me your favorite childhood memory in Detroit. Your favorite Detroit childhood memory. I want to
like from Detroit or like from my childhood.
Just being in Detroit. Just
you as a child. What was something
growing up in Detroit?
What's a memory that you would never forget as a child growing up in Detroit?
The fireworks.
Yes.
Okay.
Fireworks.
The fireworks.
Lituation.
Right. Simple.
Lituation. Literally and figuratively. Yes.
And they don't do it like how they do it no more.
No. Too many people be getting shot down there. They be trying to chill now.
It's like now you get lucky, you can get a hotel room or something. You get dinner on the rooftop to see it.
It was like you was young. You knew, like, don't wear a white T-shirt to the fireworks. You're coming back with all the ashes on it.
Facts, dog. That's crazy. Basically, man, like I say, us being in the black community, we want to give you your flowers, bro.
Yes,
I appreciate that, man.
You know, I try to make sure that I say that every episode to whoever we speaking to, because regardless of how small or big the individual is, they were bred from this city. And they are doing positive things, and they are pushing positive things, and we want to acknowledge that.
Yes,
so we want to get people, like, you know, on this artistry that Marcel has, because he's very talented. And these are pieces that, like, y'all wonder why, like, we so big, the scientists so big in Egypt, when they look on the walls and they find paintings from thousands of years, it's like we interested in that. So it's just like he's leaving his mark on the world, something that's going to be around hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's dope.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that a lot of people that, you know, need to know.
It is. And if I could touch on that, man, it's just like everything that I'm doing and everything that I'm building up is not only just for my name, but it's also for my family. And a lot of people don't understand that as far as art goes. But every time I sign my name, it's for my whole tribe that I have running behind me. And it's for generations. Not just my current family, but for the generations. So while completing my paintings, I've discovered a technique that I use in all of my paintings. I build up. And what that means is I create about 30 different layers of paint.
I say the layers.
And that's just contrasting colors, shapes, abstract movements, splashes. But it's all about build up to create this concise and you know, organized chaos arena that becomes beautiful. You know, just like any person that we see, we can see a beautiful person, but what's underneath is what matters.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question for you though. Based on what you were saying, just talking about just having that longevity for your lineage, you know, for generations to come with every time that you create a piece. I want you to tell me the process of, I seen that you have some paintings being sold as NFTs.
Yes.
So, and I see that that's definitely, you know, trending in the digital age that we're in. I want you to just briefly touch on that for some newer artists coming into the game, how beneficial that has been for you.
Yeah, so this last year in December, I went down to Art Basel, and it's crazy down there. Like, crazy.
Where is that located?
That's in Miami.
Miami.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay.
so, you know, that's like the spot for all art. In 1 month, that's the spot, you know? And down there is $1 million pieces being sold like that. Yeah.
Big leagues.
Real big leagues.
Look, major league.
Right.
Major league.
When you go down there, man, you learn so much, and it's all about absorption. So you decide who you're going to be. Are you going to be a salesman, or are you going to be a sponge? And this year I went down there, and I was a sponge and kind of soaked up everything and came back to the city. And I wanted to show people a different variation of what I can do with my art. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But, you know, the main thing that I'm focusing on is painting. You know, I also have prints available of my paintings.
You can also go on umojafinearts.com and you can also purchase Marcel's paintings, and it's a variety of different
a nice selection.
Paintings, and he even has a clothing line.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out. Now, let me make sure. Legendary, correct?
No.
Did you change it to Marcel Fine Arts?
Yeah, I changed it to just Marcel Stewart Fine Arts.
That's what.
Put my name on everything.
With
What
the
made you change
signature
the legendary?
splash?
What made you change the legendary?
So it was legendary just because, you know, I wanted everybody to feel as if they were legendary. No matter what their profession was, no matter their background, had the self-confidence to feel that you're legendary, you know, and then you'll go out in the day to do whatever you need to do to be a legend. But, you know, I dealt with a few collectors that really instilled some knowledge in me, and they said people want to know you, and if they don't know you for what you are and who you are, then it'll be gone, you know? So it's so many companies out there named Legendary, but it's not one company out there named Marcel Stewart Fine Arts. And that's the main thing. So
that branding.
when they get that receipt or anything that say Marcel Stewart Fine Arts, you know who you got it from, and you know what type of piece it is.
You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real.
Is there anything that, you know, because we'll be getting close to bringing things in the close soon, is there any final thoughts that you like the city to know about you, or emerging artists? What would you like to tell the people of Detroit?
Keep going, man. Whatever you do, don't quit. That's like the only difference between anybody that made it or that didn't make it is the person that made it, they never quit. They never quit. And if they did, they got back up and said, no, I can't quit because I gotta get here to this destination. So that's one big thing, man. Another thing is you can follow me on Instagram at Marcel Stewart Art. And then if you guys want to visit the gallery, we're open on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that'll be at 16250 Northland Drive, Suite 102, Southfield, Michigan. Umoja Fine Arts, and that's in the Crossroad building on 8 Mile Southfield.
And we'll have all that information as far as the gallery's website, his IG, all of that will also be available for you to easily access. Any final thoughts, Sarelle?
I know. When did your paintings go from local to international?
Oh man!
When that first happened? What was your mindset? How did you feel?
That's so funny that you say that, man. It was like first, like I said, I went from like 600 to 1500, and then that happened like locally, and then I had my solo show where it was just me. I told the wife, I'm doing this.
Got it.
Get your sisters. I need somebody to write up receipts. I need somebody to serve fruit. We gonna do this, you know. And I did it, you know. And I made a couple dollars, and that prompted me to go to New York. At least try. And I applied for our show out in New York.
Was that the Harlem one?
Yeah, the Harlem Fine Art show. Yeah. I applied for it, and they said, you know what, we'll take you. So
nice.
I said, you know what, wife?
You shoot 100%. You miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot.
Exactly.
So you gotta shoot them.
I took some of that money that I got from the solo show, got a U-Haul.
Hey,
you
made
know,
it happen.
Exactly. And then we got in the van and drove to New York with the paintings. Didn't know really how to package them or nothing like that, but we gonna get it there. We gonna get there. I got some nice clothes, you know, to sell my art. We got a booth, and I start selling my art, and then it's sold for the same price range. You know what I mean? Feel and from there on, I came back from New York. People accepted that I was able to sell, and then from there on, my prices started to increase, and my awareness of how to handle money really started to increase. It forced me to be more knowledgeable and be more educated about finances. No one in school really will teach you about finances. Nobody around you will really teach you about finances. They'll love that you will have finances, right? But nobody is really going to drill into you what to do with your finances, how to manage your finances. Once they come in, you got to figure out how to manage, you know?
That's
so
true.
I think
educate
going
yourself.
International and dealing with people that was buying big paintings that was big as this table and putting them in their bathroom. So that stuff like that was throwing me off, and it had
culture shock.
Right, for sure. It had me asking myself though, how are they able to do this? You know, what type of things are they into to be in this position to buy a painting for me at this level? You know, so. It was things like that made me want to get more educated into my own income that was coming in. And then from there on is when I started, or really I should say stop taking it just for money and looking at it more as income.
Got it.
You know?
One more thing too. Is Raspberry Lemonade, is that your favorite painting, bro?
It used to be. I'll say that. It
so
used to be one of my
a lot came along after that.
Yeah, it used to be one of
a new one now. What's your new favorite?
Right. I'll explain now.
Explain the story behind Raspberry Lemonade.
So Raspberry Lemonade, that was one of my favorites because it was inspired by my mom. And my mom's favorite restaurant was Red Lobster. And after me and my brother, if we would get good grades, she had her way of rewarding us by taking us to Red Lobster. And her favorite drink there was a Raspberry Lemonade. And me and my brother, we would try to get taste that. We tasted it. We were like, oh, that's sour. I never forget that taste. So I wanted to create that same enjoyment, you know, that same sporadic enjoyment that people have when they see something, when they feel something, or just when they overjoyed, you know.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but I say my favorite painting now is probably Sense of Warmth.
Okay, that's my favorite. That's my favorite
right now.
When I seen that, I was in love because it was like
beautiful.
just it's crazy, the geometric shapes and just everything was just hitting so perfect on there, bro. And it's like big as hell.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like you cannot miss this painting.
It's a showstopper. And then just like how you said, with everything that's in it, it's my characteristics. Like I love math. A lot of people don't like that topic or that subject, but I love math. I love dealing with numbers. So that's where the geometric shapes come from. I think of those like people, you know, so to speak. If I put a geometric shape inside of a painting, that's a person. Based on where it's at is how that person is moving in life. If that square or that rectangle is stuck to the edge, that person is still stuck. You know, if it's wavered off a little bit, if I got a square wavered off a little bit, they're starting to move a little bit or progress a little bit. If it's open, they may be found their way and they're opening up. They have an open sense of mind.
I will never look at your paintings the same after hearing that explanation because that just makes so much sense. Now, when I think back and I'm looking at your paintings in my mind, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
I seen that you met, what's his name? Dr. Omar?
Yeah, Dr. Umar.
How was that, bro? Like, when you met him, bro?
So I was showing my paintings in Detroit at a Coney Island, man. Hey, believe it or not, I sold a lot of paintings there. But I met him, man, and it was just a matter of, I didn't even really know who he was, to be honest with you. But it was a matter of meeting him and understanding what type of pull he had with everybody because I was showing my paintings in front of judges and things like that, lawyers and things like that. So when everybody like that was walking up to him, I'm like, okay, who is this guy? let me holler at him and then just say what's up to him and then look him up afterwards because you don't never want to miss out on the opportunity of somebody that could be really influential in your life. You know, I shook hands with him and chopped it up with him for a minute and got a little bit of knowledge from him. But he's real culturally driven. Without a doubt. And he's real powerful in this community. I think, and he's fighting for something. That's all that matters. I don't care what anybody's fighting for.
True.
If you fighting for something and you from our community, from our culture, then go for it. You know what I mean? As long as it ain't negative.
No, that's true. That's true.
Any upcoming things? I know you had some stuff coming up in the spring that you wanted to let the people know that was coming up. For
so April 22nd and April 23rd, I'm gonna have one of my first small group art shows at Umoja.
Okay.
I'm actually preparing all my pieces now. So I paint in my studio every night. It's like a day and night thing for me. I go in there every day, every night. Mm-hmm. It's literally like, if you think about a sport, I'm 2-a-days, and I just can't wait to show those pieces. It'll be at Umoja Fine Arts. It's called the Blooming in Color Art Show. It'll be me along with the 2 artists.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, man, we greatly appreciate you stopping by, and telling your story to the public. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people get discouraged going through certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it stops them from really conquering what they really want. But I know you've went through certain things and you still didn't let that bother you.
Yeah, and I still see it too. To be honest, bro, like it's a lot of people that won't push their dreams because of what somebody else said, or won't push their dreams, or they just won't push it because there's nobody behind them with 2 hands pushing them. And I feel that to be kind of odd, but at the same time, I'll be that person to push you and say it's nothing to be intimidated of, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Nobody is the same. That's what makes us different, and that's what's gonna make you pop out and really be special.
Everybody's story different. That's why we want to talk to everybody. Everybody got a different story. But again, we do appreciate you stopping through.
I appreciate y'all. Yeah,
Thank
Marcel
you,
Stewart, the professional painter. Y'all can check him out on UmojaFineArts.com. His Instagram. You want to shout that out?
Marcel Stewart Art. That's it, Marcel Stewart Art.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all can follow us on Instagram, the Pod 313, and you already know what it is. It's your boy Sir LA.
And it's your girl Dahlia.
And y'all tuned in to the Pod, aka the people of Detroit.
Peace, y'all.
Deuces.